Hi, this is David from Jubilee, speaking from Jubilee. Today I'm just gonna do like a reflection, like a question and answer kind of thing. But I'm gonna do the verses from Matthew 10:27 to 31. And so we're just gonna get on with the questions and how I reflect with it. So the first question was, how do you relate to the verses? And I guess we can focus on the obvious and be like, yeah, we're worth the many sparrows. Maybe we're just more important than others. We feel like maybe that's a little arrogant, but it's okay to be confident about yourself. Don't let nobody tell you that you're not nothing or you're not enough, because you are. And so maybe you don't like to be told, or maybe you do. For kids, it's really important to be told you are important, you're special. And for adults, you tell them, they'll be like, no offense to all of y'all. But sometimes we have to take that to heart because that's really important, and maybe we don't get told that enough, and we feel like everything's just gonna fall apart. But take it to heart. You really do matter, and God said that multiple times. Just really keep it to heart. And you're not fighting alone. Really, you're not. Everybody's fighting. Billy Bob from 8th Street, maybe me from Collinsville. We're not fighting alone. We're struggling, yes. We talk to ourselves most of the time. You know, we can't trust a lot of people. We lack confidence. But who's going to be the leader to tell you you're not alone? I'm not the leader, but I will tell you I'm not alone. We got this, you know. You depend on people. That's really important. And you are worth the many sparrows. He does count your hairs, every piece of it. So depend on others, okay? The next question will be, how do these verses relate to COVID-19? Well, I'll start. He gave us warnings. He told us to sanitize. He told us to stay away. But we don't listen most of the time, so that's our fault. You know, he gave us free will, and that's up to us to make the decision. So I remind you to wash your hands, sanitize a lot of things, please, and just stay 6 feet away from people who you might not know or who've been on trips, just to be safe. But yeah, he does care about you, and especially right now in this hectic time, you gotta know that COVID-19 is not a simple case. It's been very complex. We still haven't found a cure. But I'm not trying to sound like a bad guy telling you to do this and do that. That's up to you. But really, you know he gave you signs. You're worth it because you're still living. You haven't gotten affected. So just keep it in mind that he does care about you at this time. He's working really hard. You're working really hard. Everybody else working. And some of us are not working, but he still cares about you. And my third question was, how does Jesus play in a role with my work or your work? Well, I have 3 jobs, and some of that can be frustrating, especially where I work at the country club. I have some leaders that are not leaders. They're more like bosses, which I heard, which I've seen. And I've seen other leaders such as Miss Elaine, Matt, Pastor Dwayne, Suzanne. They're extraordinary leaders, and I know I can depend on them when I'm feeling really down. And I was told as a leader, you have to be honest with yourself. So, and then Miss Elaine told me, can I do this sermon or a little reflection kind of thing? And I was like, I can try, but I don't really promise you the best. Or I don't know, sometimes I feel like I'll mess up, and that's okay sometimes, you know, it's okay to mess up. And yeah, my 3 jobs, well, one, I work here at the church. Well, I try to help out as much as I can. And I help with food distribution on Tuesdays, every 4 Tuesdays. And I sometimes work at Pound Lake Camp, which most of you are familiar with, and I help clean it up a bit, you know, trying to keep it nice and neat. and I work at the country club, which is basically maintenance work, like the pound light, try to make it nice and neat. But the problem is over there they don't really teach you, so you kind of have to like learn it yourself. And here they will explain to me thoroughly. They're very clear with the instructions. And it's more organized, and I feel more confident when I do it. And I'm over there hoping I won't mess up, and that's okay. But yeah, and I know that Jesus is with me. They say, while I was doing this, I read something that says, you can't speak for Jesus or for Christ if he hasn't spoken to you. And I'm not really speaking to you in the eyes of Jesus or in his words. I'm speaking to you with experience, and just hope some of this can get through, even though Christ hasn't really spoken to me a lot lately, and that's okay with me. But I know he's watching out for me, because I should have been, not dead, but I should have been injured in a way, because my car, the brakes, apparently they were already torn, already broken in pieces, like maybe a month ago. And yeah, I knew that was God's work there, because I didn't die. I was safe. I got home every day safely, and surprisingly, I didn't stop in the highway. But right there, I knew I had to change my ways. I needed to prioritize him more than others, and then my work. So yeah, I am important. You are important. And being silent about it hurts. You gotta speak to somebody. I know, because lately I've been keeping a lot to myself. Nobody really knows how I really feel. I don't speak to my parents about it, and it was dragging me down. I was drowning. And like I said, they taught me you have to be honest with yourself. And I spoke to my leaders, the ones I can depend on. And I feel better now. I feel more alleviated. I feel like I can do more things now. That doesn't mean I'm tired physically. I'm still tired, but I know I can still push forward. So my last question is, why we care, why he cares, why you care, why I care. And really, there's just one simple answer for that. Because you matter. Mic drop, everything. I could be done right now. But you think you don't matter because you make mistakes. We all make mistakes. No one's perfect. That's okay. Failure's part of the process. What's so fun about finishing, being perfect, doing everything right? There's no challenge. You're not growing. You're not evolving in a sense of your growth with yourself. And failure, you can change. You can become a better person. And that's okay. It's okay to fail. Don't think you fail and everything's gonna go bad. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. And all we can depend on is being hopeful, like Miss Shelley said, or like what Kobe said. We depend on hope because that's all we know how to do. We just hope everything can get better, and it will. And you are worth the many sparrows. That's it for me.